loss of Alexander Isak and only one win in the Premier League. High-flying Arsenal were the visitors to St James's Park, looking to keep up the...
You know, clearly you did deserve to win the game, but deserving it and actually doing it, sometimes two different things.
Yes, and to do it in the manner that we've done it, wow, what a feeling. Football is about emotion and going through things, and today we had a beautiful one at the end of the match. Thanks God.
It'd be tough to take, obviously, to lose the game in that fashion, as you did, of course, with Liverpool here as well, in another sort of frantic ending.
Yeah, it's not lost on me. You know, two really late goals here at home. That it's the worst way to lose. The pain you feel is intense that you can get in football management, I think. So, yeah, I think we have to reflect and acknowledge today that we weren't at our best. And take responsibility for that.
I think you scored from the 11th corner of the game and the 12th corner of the game, which just goes to show, you know, I mean, Arsenal and corners, it keeps happening.
Yeah, that shows a lot, and not only set pieces strategy, but also mentality. Most teams, when they get 5, 6, 7 corners and they don't score, they start to lose belief in their qualities. But for us, it's just a matter of trying to keep doing what we do, trying to, do it at the highest level. And in the end, the last second, we scored, and yeah, really happy.
I've got to ask you about the penalty that wasn't, and obviously your view definitely will be that it should be a penalty.
I fully agree with you, especially because the rules are very clear, but we've been instructed is very clear, and this is a clear no error. VAR is not going to intervene, and it is a penalty. But thanks God, we find another way, and we keep fighting, and we find a way to win the game.
Yeah, because I think he'd have been a little bit angrier than that if they hadn't. However, you might say differently, and it is part of a kind of narrative that they have, Arsenal, about going up to Newcastle and things not necessarily going the right way for them. And they started to kind of feel that was going to be the same today, didn't they, with that decision? But you disagree?
Yeah, they did, and it was a big moment, there's no doubt about it. It was contentious, there was a lot riding on it, but I'm going to have to disagree with Mikel Arteta there. We've gone into great detail because, like I say, it was such an emotional moment, especially with everything going on around the Newcastle Arsenal narrative. And as Gyökeres goes through here, my immediate goalkeeper in me said, oh, I hope Nick Pope's got a touch on that, but I'm not 100% sure. This angle is not conclusive. There's definite contact. But as we get to this one, we slow it down. This is really, really important. Nick Pope, with those size 13 feet of his, gets a toe on it. And not only does he get a toe on it, he manages to divert that ball away from goal. But that's not the most important point. As we just roll it on here, as Nick Pope plants his foot, he is deemed not to be using a forward motion towards Gyökeres. And therefore, as we roll it on, as Gyökeres' knee clashes into Nick Pope's knee, it is just seen as a clash of bodies. It's not Nick Pope taking him out. Saka would have been so hopeful there. Bruno Guimaraes would have had his heart in his mouth, as well as Nick Pope. But that is how we've got to the conclusion. That is not a foul, it's not a penalty, play on. So
potentially, had he kind of fallen forwards, it could have been different.
Yeah.
He held his ground.
With the Robert Sanchez incident that people will bring up, you know, Robert Sanchez got a tiny touch on the ball last week against Manchester United, but the forward motion took him into the foul. Nick Pope, once he got the touch planted, Gyökeres was just a clash of bodies.
And then, of course, Newcastle go ahead, thanks to Voltemade, and even within that goal, there was a moment and a potential foul Arsenal felt that should have been seen.
Yeah, they felt like Voltemade had slightly kind of pushed Gabriel, and was that a foul? But I think it's just great play from Voltemade, and we'll see it here. Something a bit different as well from Newcastle. Firstly, Voltemade in that centre of the goal there, thinking it's going to be whipped in. Tonali's gone, no, I'm going to go with Gordon, short corner. And then Voltemade has kind of seen that and gone, right, I'm going to reassess, I'm going to readjust my position, I'm going to go a little bit towards the back post here. In by Tonali, then he's had a run on it. Beautiful header, a little bit of contact. I think that's soft to say that is a foul by Voltemade on Gabriel. And we'll see it here that Gabriel's actually going, look, Voltemade's running around the back, guys. I need some help here. I'm in a zonal position. I need someone to mark him, help me. I need to have eyes on ball. I need to go up and head of the ball. Voltemade's had a look, right, this is coming in now. I've readjusted my position, had a little bit of a run on it. Right, I'm going forward now. Gabriel doesn't know he's there. Tiny touch. It's not worth to go to ground. It's a lovely header from Voltemade. I think he's done really well there. And it's his second goal in St James's Park for Newcastle, and it kind of put them on their way, and they had great momentum in that time.
Yeah, and for a long time, St James's Park felt that the victory was going to be theirs, because they were trying Arsenal. There was a great endeavour and great attacking play and some beautiful touches. Zubimendi, Eze had a chance as well, Trossard.
Yeah, Arsenal, they played really well today and they were knocking on the door, and actually Nick Pope would have been man of the match had this game finished in the 80th minute, but it didn't. We all know that. But my point is that they were playing well. They were knocking on the door. Pope was making sensational saves. Eze looked dangerous. Arsenal looked a real threat, but they just kept knocking on the door, but they just couldn't quite unlock it, and it took something special.
And it would be too crude to say, OK, so if that's not working, revert to plan B, or it could be plan A, when you look at the numbers, because since 2003, 2023 to a 24 season, so almost 2 years, they've scored 36 goals from corners, 15 more than any other team in the Premier League. But today's were a little bit different.
Yeah, and along with those stats, up until this game, 97% of their corners in this season have been direct. They've been slinging it into the box, they've been getting all set up, and they've been looking dangerous.
I played around with it and some got like 1 million views. I didn't even do anything. I just put the link in.
Opus Clip is one of the most practical.
But one of the players that I want to mention in this game, you know, a lot of things surround Arsenal. Mikel Arteta defends his team vigorously. Arsenal fans defend their team vigorously. They're looking for certain things they feel hard done by. But what I notice with the players is they never give up. They're always focused. They're always looking for how can we get back into this game. You look at City last week and you look at this tonight. Declan Rice was sensational all game. They were 1-0 down. He had various moments where he was chasing back, getting on the ball. Now, like I said, 97%. So the instruction from the side is set up and get that ball into some dangerous areas. But Declan Rice has gone, do you know what? I can see Newcastle napping. They've got used to the fact that we're slinging balls in. We can set up against it. And he's locked eyes with Eberiche Eze, who's actually not looking, because he thinks, also, we've got Trossard there. We've got everyone thinking that it's more than likely this ball's going to get slung in and we'll get set up. Declan Rice has gone, no, I've seen something different. Moreno picking his nose there, he's still not even knows what's going on. He can't believe a short corner's happening, but it's happened. Beautiful, top players react. Odegaard reacts. Declan Rice, beautiful ball in. And Moreno, that is a sensational header. Honestly, I can't stress how delicate that is. He scored some big goals last year when they asked him to play up front. Beautiful header. Like I say, Nick Pope was an immovable object today. Absolutely perfect in the corner. And that is an Arsenal player saying, no, 1-0's not enough. Get up the other end, get the ball back, it's showtime. A little glance at the dugout to say, sorry, I took the short corner, but deal with it. It was a big moment. Let's get back in this game. Now, I talk about Arsenal wanting to win the game. Nick Pope, good claim, dominant claim, and he's seen that Arsenal are struggling. They're slinging bodies forward. You look at the Arsenal dugout, they know immediately this is danger. Premier League goalkeeper getting it in his hands there. Eze on the back foot. Elanga's got the pace to burn. Worst case scenario, Nick Pope would have thought is I'll get it over the top. Eze might head it out for a throw-in. Best case, I've got Elanga in. Turns out neither of those are the case. It's a terrible kick, shanked it into midfield. Arteta's telling his team to calm down, and then immediately he's reacted. Right, we've got another opportunity. We've still got bodies up there. Beautiful ball in from Declan Rice, causes carnage. Look at Arteta. Right, now we can set it up exactly how I want us to. Here we go. This is the Arsenal that we expect. Bodies everywhere, Saliba lurking, and Gabriel one-on-one with Dan Burn, and he's saying, get it into that near post area, and I'm going to make something happen. And fair play to him today. There was loads going on in Gabriel's game. There seems to always be something going on in Gabriel's game, but a massive header for his team. But do not underestimate William Saliba. Nick Pope, top dominant keeper, one of the best keepers in the league, in fact, with crosses. But at this moment in time, he's locked in on the corner. That's where he's focusing. Where's that corner coming? And Saliba, blindside, 6'4", probably close to 100 kilos. Just as the ball comes in, he goes, get past me if you can. Nick Pope, dying to be a good teammate, dying to be a top keeper, come and get it. But he's just been blindsided, the strength isn't there. He's stuck in no man's land. Gabriel, what a huge moment. Credit to him. Like I say, he's involved in everything. Not always good, but that's a massive moment in this title race for Arsenal. To go to Newcastle, win late. Credit where its credit is due.
And that's the stat I was just describing before. 36 goals from corners since 23-24. We need a bit more Gabriel. We haven't had enough of him in this chat. And it's only fair that we kind of balance things out, because Newcastle also felt slightly aggrieved, maybe very aggrieved, with a decision that didn't go their way involving him.
Yeah, and I feel like he's been in both sides of the boxes. So many different decisions made, and this one, the referee made the decision of no penalty, and we'll see a couple of angles here from why. And it's Elanga's having that strike. It's coming off Gabriel onto his arm. This angle's perfect. It's come off Alango onto his, deflected off his shin onto his arm, which means that that is not a penalty, and it's the correct decision from the referee, confirmed and checked by VAR, that's deflected off Gabriel's shin onto his arm. Therefore, it can't be a penalty.
And a really big weekend for them. You know, driving as you described there, Joe, to get that win.
Yep.
And of course, with Liverpool losing as well, it turned out to